It
We
says
are?
preparing. It says preparing. We've got people coming in.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Always good to have people
Yeah.
dropping on by. Hello, Alan. Welcome, welcome. Today is an interesting little subject matter for everyone. This was quite startling when I first understood it, and I believe also for Amy as well, when she first realized how much this affects us all. And that is, what if everything you see, touch, and even think about is actually made of light, shaped not by fixed laws, but by your very own perception? Science now reveals that atoms, cells, and even reality itself is woven from light, responding to the power of consciousness in ways more magical than we ever imagined. So let's just talk about the science of light. Current explorations reveal how everything is created from light, that the idea that everything, including our very cells and atoms, is fundamentally just composed of light. There's light, and a whole bunch of empty space makes up physical reality when you look at cells and atoms and everything else. So now let's consider the quantum nature of light and matter. Light is not just something we see. It is the fundamental force shaping our universe. Quantum physics tells us that all matter is made of energy, and energy manifests as waves of electromagnetic radiation, including visible light. So energy and information are intrinsically combined together. So Albert Einstein's equation E equals mc squared demonstrates that matter and energy are interchangeable. This means that at the most fundamental level, the solid world around us is simply condensed energy, different forms of light in one or another form, and vibrating or radiating at different frequency. Frequency is therefore very fundamental in the construct that we relate to on a daily basis called reality. And Max Planck, the father of quantum theory, he said that all matter originates and exists only by a virtue of a force. We must assume behind this force is the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. So it's our atoms and cells that are the building block of ourselves, and light as a building block of life within those atoms and cells. So atoms, the foundation of all matter, are mostly empty space. Their electrons actually orbit the nucleus in patterns of probability rather than fixed orbits. So it was originally thought that, oh, here's an atom and here's these, you got the nucleus and you got these protons circling around them. It's been discovered that they're not actually circling, but they're appearing and disappearing ultra fast. So they're actually being in multiple potentials of a fixed orbit simultaneously. So it appears that they're rotating, but they're actually appearing and disappearing. So anyway, either way, 99% of the atom is empty space with light floating around, in, around, and between it, meaning that atoms are not solid, but just exist as energy fields or fields of energy. Now, biophotons, that is light that exists within us, within our physical body. Studies by Dr. Fritz Albert Popp demonstrate that cells emit biophotons, tiny particles of light, which regulate cellular function and DNA activity. So what's going on in the cells and how our DNA is read and understood is happening with these biophotons. And these emissions suggest that light plays a critical role in communication within the body and that the cells are actually almost speaking to each other at the speed of light in a form of Morse code. And a 2019 recent scientific study in Nature Communications found that biophoton emissions could influence brain activity, suggesting that our very thoughts may be interacting with light on a quantum level. Now, let's take that the next step. Some of you may already be aware of the famous double slit experiment, where it's speculated that the observer shapes reality. So if you haven't heard of the double slit experiment, just Google it. There's a bunches, bundles, a lot of information out there. You can go watch little animations and videos. It's pretty cool. But it's one of the most famous experiments in quantum physics. And the double slit experiment reveals that light, so we've got this wave of light, behaves as both a particle, little vibrating particle, and also a wave. It's both a wave and a particle, depending on whether or not it is being observed. So when there's conscious attention focused on the light, it changes the structure of the light. A key finding is that when light passes through two slits without observation, it creates an interference pattern, which is wave behavior. So when it's not being observed, there's wave behavior. However, when it is observed, it collapses into particles. So what's the implication? That means our conscious observation determines how reality manifests, suggesting that our beliefs and our awareness shape the physical world. So this has led to many world-leading scientists all over the world to the conclusion we are light and our awareness shapes reality. So this experiment suggests that consciousness itself influences reality. Our consciousness, our thoughts shape reality. Our attention and beliefs determine how energy, light, organizes itself. We are not separate from the universe. We are participants in its unfolding. We're not separate from the universe. We are the universe in a small particle. So it's kind of like that Rumi quote where he says, we are not a drop of the ocean. We are the ocean in a drop. Mm. So everything is light. Our atoms, our cells, and even thoughts exist in this luminous field of potential. If you've seen any brain scans of thoughts happening, it's like a thunderstorm or an electrical storm happening through the neural pathways in the brain. We are light. Our thoughts are light. Science now suggests that observation, our awareness, determines how reality materializes. If light responds to perception, then what we choose to see, believe, and focus on may actually be shaping the very fabric of our existence. Wow. Given that, then what new realities could we create if we understood that our consciousness sculpts the world around us? If everything is made of light and our consciousness influences light, then we are not passive observers of reality. Instead, we are active participants shaping the universe through our awareness, our thoughts, and our beliefs. What if the key to transforming our lives lies in consciously directing our perceptions? What new realities could we create by simply shifting our focus? Our brains filter reality through the reticular activating system. We've talked about this before in the midbrain. This is found in the reticular formation in the brain stem and midbrain. It's a neural network that prioritizes information based on what we already believe and expect. We've talked about it. The RAS is like a big bouncer, and your beliefs is like a list on the VIP list, and it only allows into consciousness what's on the VIP list, what is on the belief list of consciousness. So like a spotlight, the RAS tunes out what doesn't align with our accepted worldview, our current set of beliefs, meaning we don't see reality as it is, we see it as we believe it to be. It's our beliefs that's affecting the construct of what we determine reality. Examples of how our RAS filters out reality. There's a couple of little examples here, and I'm sure most of you will recognize that you do these things or you've seen these things in practice. It's not out there, it's very real. One of it is selective attention. Have you ever noticed that when you decide to buy a certain car, you suddenly see it everywhere? It's not as though they magically just appeared. The cars were always there, but your RAS, your reticular activating system, now prioritizes them because they align with your new focus, a new belief that this type of car is relevant and more relevant than it used to be, brings it into conscious awareness. The RAS now filters out, oh, there's that car we were looking at. There's that car. There's that car. It shows the information. That's called selective attention. And we also have confirmation bias. So if you believe people are untrustworthy, your RAS will highlight moments that confirm this belief while ignoring acts of kindness and honesty. And also the reverse is true. If you believe people are trustworthy, your RAS will highlight moments that confirm this belief while overlooking acts of deception and dishonesty. An example of that is political discourse. Both sides are looking from a point of confirmation bias. When sexism, racism, all of these things are playing out within confirmation bias. For example, driving a car on the freeway and all of a sudden someone cuts somebody off and they go, oh, female driver. It's like, well, there were 7 other cars that cut you off. Oh, but they were guys and they were in a hurry. They had to be somewhere. So we will justify our belief based on what we observe, and we observe things that justify our belief. It's a two-way supporting process. So we have selective attention, we have confirmation bias, we also have the placebo and the nocebo effect. Many people are aware of the placebo effect. That's where patients who believe in a treatment often experience real healing, even when given just a sugar pill. They've been told about the benefits they're going to get from this trial drug. They get a sugar pill. Their belief that the drug will help them actually activates the symptoms and the changes. So it's not the pill that's making the difference, it's the belief in the pill, because their RAS directs their body's response based on this expectation. Same is true for the nocebo effect, which is just as the positive beliefs can trigger healing through the placebo effect, negative expectations can create real harm through the nocebo effect. That's when a person believes a treatment will cause negative side effects or that they are destined to get sick. It's, oh, I always get sick. Their body responds accordingly, manifesting real symptoms, even in the absence of any harmful cause. It's not the sugar pill. It's the belief that the sugar pill is a drug and the drug may have potential side effects, and their belief that they are more prone to get the negative side effects. They manifest those negative side effects. You may be aware of Dr. Wayne Dwyer's quote, you'll see it when you believe it. You'll see it when you believe it. He's got a great YouTube video and a few other things, great book and everything else. If you're interested in that, by all means, do some search and check it out for yourself. So, but basically this perfectly captures how the RAS works, the reticular activating system or reticular formation. Our brain doesn't just passively receive reality, it actively constructs it based on what we currently accept as true. Belief leads to a specific action, which leads to a specific result, which in turn reinforces that original belief. Belief, action, experience, the experience, reinforcing the belief. So what can we do? You can change, make a choice now to change what it is that you're currently thinking. And this is why they talk so much about positive affirmations or positive thought processes. And yet there's other elements that you have to be aware of with positive affirmations for them to actually work. Just saying them without having any emotional connection to an affirmation isn't doing much at all yet. So here's a great thought for you to carry on. And I will drop it into the chat for everybody here, so you can copy and paste it, screenshot it, whatever you want, or we'll see where it goes. And this is a great thought to carry with you. Read this self out to you and contemplate it. Think about it. I am the creator of my reality. What I focus on expands, what I believe shapes my world, and what I see is a reflection of my thoughts. I choose to see limitless possibilities. So if you want something a little shorter, basically that's saying what I focus on grows, what I believe shows. What I focus on grows, what I believe shows. Or even shorter still, what I think about, I bring about. It's the one that I remember. What I think about, I bring about. So there we go. Drop those in the Zoom chat for you folks that are here to copy and paste, jot down, and contemplate, think about. Don't just say it, but think about it when you say it, because it's the deep thought that really connects you to the potential. It's not the words that have the power, it's your intention and emotional energy connected when you say those words that has the real power. So yeah, that's a quick little drop into the world of, ooh, what's really going on here? And that is that everything we see, touch, and think about is made of light. And that it's our very perceptions that affect that light. And atoms, cells, and even reality itself is woven from light, and our thoughts and our beliefs affect what we see and what we think about what we see, constructing and creating what we call the life experience. And so much of this is happening in your brain, and good nutrition supports your brain. When we clean out the junk on what we consume, both visually, audibly, and orally. So it's not just food and liquid, it's also what we're watching and seeing. What we consume affects our brain, and our brain affects how we relate to and what we create as the life experience. So yeah, definitely looking into taking an action somewhere and changing what you do. I've had a big shift in what I do personally with my nutrition, and I've seen great results from it, and an increase in my intuition when I'm clearing out the junk and cleaning out the everything else. And yeah, there is wonderful little surprises that life has in store for you when you do that.
I have a quick comment if you're, I don't want to
Sure.
interrupt. I would love for you to expand a little bit on your personal experience with light. You've died a couple of times, right?
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're doing. I thought you were talking about when you were blowing out the birthday candles the other day and you burnt your finger. Talk about how you handled light.
No. No,
Well,
didn't you have a big experience around when you died
yes,
around
yes,
how much
yes.
we are light?
Oh, yeah. Great point. Great point. Because apparently this isn't too common for people to have a near-death experience.
Let me interrupt that real quick. A lot of people say that they have near death experiences and they're like, I almost got hit by a car. That's not a near death experience. That's something that scared you.
That's a near accident
That's a near
experience.
accident experience. A near death experience is when you actually die medically and they bring you back to life. And the doctors
Yeah.
go, you were not alive. That's a near death experience.
Yeah, my experience was the physical body stopped, my heart stopped, I had internal bleeding, I was on an operating table, and the physical body was deemed non-active. They had to find where the blood was bleeding from. Um,
To stop it.
yeah, patch that up, patch the tear, put blood back in the body so there was something for the heart to pump, and start me back up before the brain goes, there's not enough blood. So I was being kept alive by a machine for a bit of time. But in that moment, I had the most amazing experience, and I got to experience what is outside of the physical reality that we call the physical body. So there's a lot of stuff that took place very quickly. I was going down this hallway. Some people call it a tunnel of light. For me, it was like a hallway. It was like the doorway right at the end was open, and the light was so bright that this door was open. The light was streaming through, and the light was lighting the full hallway from down there. And I moved I was kind of floating and moving. I got to where the doorway was, and I kind of moved through it. And like when you move through something, it disappears from your peripheral. Well, I don't know if it disappeared from my peripheral, and if I turned around and looked, I would have saw it again. Yet for me, I moved forward and I was just taking in this beautiful scenery. It was absolutely beautiful. And here's the interesting thing, it was made of light. The ground, the trees, the mountains, everything was made of light in physical form. So the same way water, when it's frozen, looks like an ice cube, it was almost like everything was made of ice cubes of light. Everything was made of these physical construct of light. And there was a vibrational sensation that you could feel. I could feel this. It was almost like classical music, but there was this vibrational sensation. And it wasn't something I heard as such, yet I could feel it tingling and vibrating in every cell of my being. And it was beautiful. And there was this feeling or this sweetness or this essence of love. Like I was 18 at the time, so the best thing I could relate it to was the first kiss. When you really like someone, you're like, oh my God, they're going to kiss me, I'm going to kiss them. And there's this sweetness and there's this anticipation that then the next moment there's going to be something amazing and wonderful take place. So it was that sweetness and that beauty and that anticipation and that love that was just like the air you breathed. It was a feeling that was all around you. And I could hear this or feel this kind of like classical music vibrating in my body. And I was seeing the hills and the trees and the distance mountains and everything. And that was semi-opaque. I could see through. It was like everything was light in a physical construct, and there was this sweetness and there was this vibration. And there was a person there, and they put their hand on my shoulder, and I could feel their hand. And they said, you have to go back, there's more to do, plus a few other things. Anyway, I came to in the hospital bed, and this was about a half an hour after surgery and everything was done, and they didn't know whether I was going to survive, if I had brain damage or any of those things, because of the amount of time that the physical body was needing to be kept alive. Yet I was coming to, and they go, are you okay? And they're asking me these questions to see if I was cognitive and if I could speak. And I can remember saying, his hand's on my shoulder. I could still feel this being's hand on my shoulder for the next about half an hour, and it slowly faded away. They're like, no one's touched you, no one's touched you. Yet in that moment, many years later, in my studies into different energy healing modalities and my studies of different spiritual and religious beliefs around the world when I got to work and travel all over the world, um, was interesting because more and more did I see little nuances of what I experienced in that near death experience. The concept of light having information in it, the concept of frequency and vibration carrying information and structure and form. And it's been very, very interesting. So, all of this stuff that I talked about a little bit earlier um, is the latest science in regards to explaining what it was I experienced is definitely in alignment to what I experienced 30 years ago, 40 years. And and it's also part of the structure with the energy healing that Amy and I both do, that we'll do for anybody a little bit later here. It's part of that process. So what I'd like you all to consider right now is, what thoughts are you having? And it's not a matter of, are those thoughts affecting your life? It's to what degree they're affecting your life, because they definitely are. Every thought we have is affecting the frequency of reality or light particles all around us that make up that construct of atoms and particles. Yeah. Um, Alan says, I've only died in a dream, but it was crazy. I lifted out of my body and watched as they called 911 and saw the ambulance come, and they loaded up my body and hauled me off. I had 2 or 3 days of chest pain after the dream. Wow. That is pretty wild. It's interesting. You mentioned that it is a dream and you're having the chest pains. There's a bunch of studies that you guys can look up and research for yourself as well, of how different thought processes can manifest physical responses in our body. A very simple one for all of those people who have been trained in hypnosis. It's a typical one that you hear about describing how it is to have a lemon or cut a lemon or eat a lemon. And the very fact that you're describing it, everybody gets more saliva in their mouth just by thinking about a lemon and biting into a lemon, the juice of a lemon. You get more saliva. So that's a physical, chemical, biological change in your reality based on just a couple of words that stimulate a thought. So when we can look at that, we can also see it happening in many other ways as well. But these studies that you can look up, is there's magicians that made stuff look like it was like red hot. The metal was red hot. It was placed on the skin of the arm, and then the arm gets third degree, second degree burns from the red hot metal, because the person thought it was red hot metal.
Wow.
But it wasn't. It was all just an illusion, and body still reacted. So, oh, Alan says died of a heart attack in the dream. That's what it was about.
That's wild.
Interesting. That is wild.
It's really wild.
Very
Cool.
cool.
Well, welcome, Ali. Glad you made it.
Welcome, Ali. Welcome, Alan.
Um, I'm gonna stop the live stream
Mm-hmm.
and we'll go into some personal healing for you guys if you guys want some. We don't do it live anymore because we just want that part to be, more personal for you guys so you can feel comfortable like saying whatever you need to say.
Yeah. So, if anything that comes up in the process of what's happened in your past or in previous lives or inherited beliefs, is free to discuss without any concern.
Yeah. So, and if you guys want to get on the live stream, feel free to go to toxicmindfield.com. You can sign up for it there and get onto the live stream, get onto the Zoom, and then we will do personal work with you guys, with your limiting beliefs, with any ancestral beliefs, and we'll do a little bit of pranic. I've got my crystal here ready to go. We'll do a little bit of pranic healing on you guys. And then if you want to join us in April 5th, we will be at live live.toxicminefield.com. So sign up for April 5th at live.toxicminefield.com and I'll add it in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and drop this